When I arrived at my Lake Tahoe cabin, after a year away, something felt off. The wallpaper in the living room had been replaced. Strange, considering the place had been locked up all that time. That's when I remembered the security cameras my late wife Dorothy had me install. I pulled up the footage on my phone. What I saw made my heart stop. I'm grateful you're here listening to this story. Before we go further, drop a comment and tell me where you're watching from right now, and what time is it there. I'd love to know who's with me on this journey. The drive to the cabin always calmed my nerves. 70 miles of winding roads through the Sierra Nevada, autumn trees ablaze with orange and gold. I'd made this journey dozens of times since Dorothy and I bought the place 15 years ago. Now, 2 years after her funeral, I made it alone. The silence felt heavier each trip. No Dorothy humming along to the radio, just me and the growing distance between me and Lauren that I couldn't seem to bridge. 8 months since we'd had a real conversation. I pulled into the gravel driveway and immediately noticed something wrong. The lawn had been mowed recently, edges trimmed neat and professional. I'd canceled the landscaping service 6 months ago. Lauren knew I was coming, but she hadn't mentioned maintaining the property. The key turned smoothly in the lock. Too smoothly. I'd expected that sticky resistance of a door unopened for months. Inside, the air smelled fresh, not musty. No dust coated the entry table. My heart began that slow, heavy rhythm I'd felt in combat 40 years ago in Vietnam. That instinct that something wasn't right. Everything looked exactly as I'd left it last October. The blue sofa, Dorothy's reading chair, our landscape paintings. But the air still held a presence like someone had just left. Then I saw it, the wallpaper. I stopped mid-step, breath catching. The pattern was the same, Dorothy's delicate floral design, pale roses climbing cream vines. But the colors were different, brighter, more vivid. The roses glowed with freshness, their pink petals sharp and clear. The original had been faded yellowed by 15 years of afternoon sun. Someone had replaced it. Recently, my hands trembled as I touched the wall. Smooth, perfectly hung without a single bubble. Professional work, expensive work, but why and who? I called Lauren. 4 rings, then voicemail. Lauren, it's Dad. I'm at the lake house. I need to talk to you. Call me back. The house felt too quiet, too watchful. In the kitchen, the refrigerator hummed. I'd unplugged it last year. Inside, bottled water, condiments, cheddar cheese. Fresh food. Someone had been living here. The realization hit like cold water. Lauren and Nathan. They must have been using the house. But why keep it secret? Why replace the wallpaper? Lauren had been distant since Nathan lost his job 8 months ago. They'd been struggling financially. She'd mentioned it once before changing the subject. I'd offered help, but she refused with that proud, stubborn tone that reminded me of myself. Had they been staying here, that wouldn't bother me. What bothered me was the secrecy. Who replaces wallpaper in a house they don't own? I climbed the stairs. In the master bedroom, the bed was made with different sheets, cream-colored instead of blue floral. The dresser drawer was open. Inside, women's business attire, size 6. Lauren's size. My daughter had been living in my house, in secret. Then I remembered the security cameras. Dorothy had always been paranoid about security. After teenagers broke in 3 years ago, she insisted we install hidden cameras. People act different when they don't know they're being watched, she'd said. I'd thought it was excessive. Now I was grateful. I sat on the bed and opened the app. My hands shook as I scrolled back 3 months. The room dimmed around me. August 15th. I selected the living room feed and pressed play. For hours and nothing. Afternoon light shifting across an empty room. Then at 6:47 p.m. the front door opened. Lauren entered first, but not the Lauren I knew. She moved with frantic energy, hair pulled tight, face pale and tense. Her eyes darted like she expected danger. Nathan followed, gaunt, unshaven, and hollow-eyed. He carried something heavy wrapped in blue tarp, 4 feet long and cylindrical. Whatever it was demanded both hands. They didn't speak, only exchanged sharp glances like rehearsed signals. Lauren rushed to the window, scanning the driveway, her knuckles white on the curtain. She was terrified. Nathan set the bundle down and approached the wall with the fresh wallpaper Dorothy had chosen. He pulled out a utility knife and made a careful incision. He peeled back the layer, revealing plaster beneath, then began cutting with precise, methodical strokes. Dust drifted to the floor as he opened a 2-foot square hole, exposing the dark cavity between the studs. Lauren never stopped watching outside. When the opening was ready, Nathan lifted the tarp-wrapped bundle. He struggled. Its weight surprised him. For a moment I thought he'd drop it, but he angled it and slowly pushed it into the cavity. It resisted once and panic twisted his face, but then it slid in, disappearing completely into the darkness. I stared at the screen, heart pounding. What had they hidden? Over the next 3 days, Nathan returned repeatedly, each time alone, carrying supplies. He patched the holes skillfully, plastering, sanding, smoothing, then replaced the wallpaper across the entire wall, making the repair undetectable. They came back twice more in the following weeks. Both times they pressed their ears to the wall, listening. For what? To confirm whatever they'd hidden was still there. Something still alive. The thought chilled me. The most recent footage was from 5 days ago. Lauren came alone. She stood before the wall, a long time motionless. Then she pressed her hand against it, and her shoulders shook. She was crying. My daughter stood in my living room, touching the wall that held her secret, sobbing, as if her heart were breaking. I closed the video. Mind racing. Money, drugs. Something stolen. None of that matched their fear, their silence, or Lauren's tears. This wasn't about money. It was about survival. My phone buzzed in my hand, jolting me. Lauren calling back. I answered, trying to steady my voice. Lauren. Dad. Her tone was bright. Too bright. Sorry, I was in a meeting. What's up? She had been distant for months, ever since Nathan lost his job. Our talks felt scripted, careful. I'm at the cabin, I said. Someone's been maintaining it. A pause. Oh, yeah. Nathan and I check on it sometimes, just making sure it's okay. The wallpaper looks fresh. Another pause longer. When she spoke again, her voice had hardened. What do you mean? In the living room. It's been replaced. Dad, you're remembering wrong. That wallpaper's been there for years. I stayed calm. Lauren, I know it's new. I know you've been here. I need to know why. Silence stretched thin and tense. I heard her breathing fast. Dad, please, she whispered. Please don't ask questions. Don't look. Don't. A voice in the background. Nathan, urgent, panicked. I have to go, she said quickly. Please forget you noticed anything. Please. She hung up. I stared at my phone. My daughter had lied, then begged me to ignore the truth. Her fear wasn't about using my cabin without permission. It was deeper, shaking her voice. Every instinct told me to call the police, but another instinct, older, stronger, held me back. I remembered the little girl who once ran to me whenever she was scared, trusting me to protect her. I went downstairs and faced the wall. The new wallpaper looked perfect, harmless. Behind it, something hidden had terrified my daughter and turned Nathan into a shell of himself. I went to my car and found the small crowbar Dorothy had insisted I keep. You never know when you'll need to pry something open, she'd said. I'd laughed then. Now I was grateful. Back inside, I approached the wall. Dorothy's voice echoed in my head. Sometimes you have to break things to fix them. I pressed the crowbar against the seam near the molding. The fresh adhesive popped free easily. I peeled back a corner, exposing patched plaster. One strike and the plaster cracked like an eggshell. I reached into the dark cavity. My fingers touched something cold, smooth plastic wrapping. I grabbed and pulled. The bundle was heavy and awkward. It took all my strength to drag it out and lower it to the floor. My back protested, but adrenaline pushed me. I knelt beside it, breathing hard. The blue tarp was newer than in the footage. Under it were layers of tightly sealed plastic. My heart pounded. What had my daughter become involved in? For a moment I thought of stopping calling Lauren, giving her a chance to explain. But it was too late now. My hands shook as I unwrapped the tarp, then the plastic beneath. Inside was a waterproof container sealed tight. My fingers felt clumsy as I broke the waterproof seal. The container opened with a soft hiss. Inside were a tablet wrapped in plastic stacks of original documents, USB drives, and a handwritten note. Insurance. Do not destroy. Lives depend on this. Nathan's handwriting. I sat on the floor, surrounded by the scattered contents, and powered on the tablet. The battery still worked. The home screen held a single folder, Garrett Properties Group. My stomach dropped. Raymond Garrett, a billionaire developer, had dominated the news with accusations of fraud, bribery, and environmental crimes. 6 months earlier, he'd publicly denied everything. Nathan had once worked as a compliance officer auditing Garrett's projects. That explained how he had access. I opened the folder. Spreadsheets, emails, contracts, photos of checks, bank statements, everything labeled dated, cross-referenced. These weren't just files. They were a complete legal roadmap. And they were originals documents with signatures, notarized seals, physical stamps, proof impossible to dispute. My phone rang, startling me. Lauren, her voice shook. Dad, are you still at the cabin? Yes. A broken breath. Oh, God. Did you find it? I found it. Dad put it back. Seal the wall. Forget it. Lauren, this is evidence of major crimes? I know, she hissed. That's why you need to hide it again. She was crying. They're looking for it. Garrett's people. Nathan documented everything to protect himself. Then his supervisor died. Died? Car accident, supposedly. And Nathan's apartment was broken into twice. Nothing taken, just searched. You went to authorities. We tried a lawyer. A really good one. He reviewed everything and warned us to be extremely careful. He said people with Garrett's money don't fall easily. What happened to the lawyer? Heart attack. He was 52 and ran marathons. That was 3 months ago. A sound outside froze me. Footsteps on gravel. I moved to the window. A black SUV idled beside my car. 2 men in dark suits stood on the porch, one speaking into a phone. Dad, Lauren whispered. Are you there? 2 men, black SUV. She began hyperventilating. Oh no, they must have been monitoring. Dad, you need to leave now. The doorbell rang. Don't answer. It rang again, then a heavy knock. A smooth voice called Mr. Coleman. We know you're in there. We just want to talk. Lauren sobbed. Dad, please. I looked at the evidence spread across the floor. Nathan and Lauren had hidden this here, risking everything. 2 men who tried to help them were dead. Now Garrett's people stood at my door. An old instinct from Vietnam surged through me. When outnumbered and outgunned, you don't stay and fight. You take what matters and move. I grabbed the waterproof container, held it tight, and ran for the basement stairs. My hip ached, arthritis getting worse every year, but adrenaline pushed me forward. Behind me, the front door splintered. Heavy footsteps crossed the floor above. Mr. Coleman, we don't want trouble. Just need to ask about your daughter. The basement was dark. I navigated around old workbenches, past boxes of Christmas decorations. I reached the bulkhead stairs and pushed. The door resisted, swollen with moisture. I can hear you down there. The voice was closer at the top of the basement stairs. I pushed harder, using my shoulder, ignoring the pain. The bulkhead gave way with a shriek of hinges. Cool evening air hit my face. I scrambled out and ran. Actually ran. Across the back lawn toward the tree line. Behind me shouts the bulkhead, crashing open, footsteps pounding. When had I last run like this? 20 years, 30. My body had forgotten how but muscle memory kicked in. Old training from Vietnam. When you're hunted, you move. I reached the woods and plunged into undergrowth. Branches tore at my clothes. My lungs burned. The bundle felt like 100 pounds. My arms screamed. My hips sent bolts of pain up my spine. But I kept going. For Lauren. For my grandchildren. The footsteps behind me slowed. They were tracking now, taking their time. I was 67, carrying a heavy load. They were younger, stronger. But they didn't know these woods like I did. Dorothy and I had hiked every trail around this lake for 15 years. I knew where the creek ran, where the old logging road cut through to the highway. Her voice echoed, "This trail leads to the creek." I changed direction toward the sound of running water. Water would mask my footsteps. A sound to my left, the second man. They'd split up, flanking me. I pushed through brush toward the creek. The sound grew louder, covering my noise. The creek appeared silver in fading light. I splashed across, soaking my shoes, and climbed the opposite bank. Behind me, very close, Mr. Coleman. This is foolish. We're not going to hurt you. Just need what you're carrying. I kept moving, using trees for support, forcing my old body forward. Just a little farther. Then I saw headlights through the trees. A car on the road. I crashed through the last brush and stumbled onto gravel. A police cruiser pulled to a stop, roof, lights flashing. A young officer got out, hand on his holster. "Sir, are you Mr. Coleman? We got a 911 call." I gasped, clutching the bundle. "Someone broke into my house. 2 men. They chased me. They're still back there." He spoke into his radio. Within minutes more cruisers arrived. The woods filled with flashlights and voices. An organized search. But when they swept the forest, they found no one. The black SUV was gone from my driveway. The only evidence of intrusion was my broken front door lock and the gaping hole in my living room wall. Officer Harris stood in my living room, staring at the gaping hole in the wall. His name tag glinted as he turned to me. "Mr. Coleman, want to explain why you tore apart your own wall?" I was still breathing hard, the waterproof container at my feet. Family papers. I forgot where I'd stored them. Family papers. His tone was flat. "Important enough that 2 men broke into your house to get them. I don't know what they wanted." "You're not being honest with me, sir." My phone buzzed. A text from Lauren. Don't trust anyone. Nathan says Garrett has connections in every police department. Don't say anything. I looked at Harris, young, eager, maybe 2 years out of the academy. Could I trust him? Could I trust anyone? I need to make a phone call, I said, to my lawyer. You need a lawyer? I need to call my nephew. He's a federal prosecutor in Seattle. Harris hesitated. Go ahead. My hands shook as I dialed. Patrick answered quickly. Uncle Jimmy, everything okay? Patrick, I found something. Documents. Evidence of fraud, maybe worse. Police are here asking questions. What kind of documents? Financial records. Emails. About Garrett Properties Group. Bribery fake reports. Wait, Raymond Garrett. You know him. He's been under FBI investigation for 2 years. We can't touch him. He has connections everywhere. His voice sharpened. Uncle Jimmy, do not show those to local police. Don't sign anything. Invoke your rights. Put the officer on. I handed the phone to Harris. I caught bits. Federal evidence. Obstruction. FBI Reno office. 3 minutes later, Harris returned the phone, his demeanor transformed. Agent Torres from the Reno field office is sending a team. You're to remain here with the evidence until they arrive. Patrick said, sit tight. Don't let anyone near it. The FBI will handle this. 2 hours later, 3 black SUVs arrived. 6 tactical agents stepped out, led by a woman in her 40s with sharp eyes. Mr. Coleman, I'm Special Agent Michelle Torres. You're coming with us along with the evidence. The Reno hotel was nondescript. They placed me in a conference room with Torres, while forensic techs worked on the documents and tablet. We've been building a case against Garrett for 26 months, Torres said. Your son-in-law recorded bank transfers, fake reports, bribes, threats. This could bring down Garrett and dozens of others. Relief washed through me. Nathan had been helping the FBI. Then Torres opened her laptop and turned it toward me. But there's a problem. On the screen, emails from Nathan to someone named Jay Bradford. Payment terms, $425,000 for full evidence package. $60,000 deposit. My stomach dropped. Jay Bradford is Cameron Drake Torres said. Garrett's biggest rival. Nathan wasn't planning to give this to authorities. He intended to sell it. No, Lauren wouldn't. We also found messages between Nathan and Garrett's people. He was playing both sides, auctioning the evidence. I couldn't breathe. Torres clicked to another document, a bank statement. Offshore account. Opened 3 months ago. Account holder, James Coleman. Balance $285,000. I didn't open that, I said. Opened using your social security number and driver's license. Deposits matched Nathan's timeline. My hands trembled. Someone stole my identity. Torres studied me. Who had access to your personal documents, Mr. Coleman? I stared at the screen, the numbers blurring. I already knew the answer. No, my voice came out hoarse. I never agreed to anything. But Torres wasn't finished. She pulled up more documents, spreading them across the table. The account was opened in July 3 months ago, using your information. $285,000 deposited mid-August. She tapped the screen. 3 days later, $28,000 was withdrawn, transferred to a domestic account belonging to Lauren. My stomach dropped. Your daughter accessed that money, used it to pay off credit card debt, make mortgage payments. I thought back 3 months. Lauren had suddenly seemed less stressed on phone calls. She'd mentioned Nathan found consulting work things were getting better. Now I felt sick. Maybe she wanted to believe it, Torres said quietly. Maybe she was desperate enough not to ask questions. She closed the folder. The account in your name makes you look complicit. The money transferred to Lauren makes her look guilty. Nathan's communications with both Drake and Garrett showed dangerous double-dealing. What do you want from me? The truth, all of it. So I told her. How Lauren became distant last year. Fewer visits, shorter calls, always anxious. Nathan had always been harder to read. Charming, but evasive. Never quite looking me in the eye. I'd never fully trusted him, but kept quiet because Lauren loved him. Torres listened without interrupting. When did things change? She asked. About 8 months ago, right after Nathan lost his job. Lauren had called one night late, crying. Said everything was falling apart. Nathan was acting strange, paranoid, coming home with documents he wouldn't explain. She was scared. I'd offered help, told her to come stay with me. She'd refused. Said Nathan needed her leaving would make things worse. That was the last honest conversation we'd had. Did Nathan ever contact you directly? Once, about 6 months ago. He asked about the Lake Tahoe cabin, whether I still owned it, whether anyone else had keys, whether I visited often. The memory turned bitter. He was planning where to hide the evidence. Did he ask about your personal documents? Not directly, but he'd been to my house dozens of times, knew where I kept things. A knock interrupted us. Another agent stepped in, whispered to Torres. Her face darkened. "A lawyer just showed up demanding to see you. Claims he represents you, that we're violating your rights." I didn't hire a lawyer, except Patrick. "This one's local, very expensive, and very connected to Raymond Garrett." My blood went cold. "Garrett sent him," Torres said. "Which means Garrett knows you're here and is making a move." She stood. "Don't talk to that lawyer. Don't sign anything. Don't leave this room." She left me alone. My phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. "Mr. Coleman, this is Cameron Drake. Your son-in-law made promises he can't keep. Now you're all in danger. I can help, but only if you trust me. Meet me outside the hotel, back parking lot. 1 hour, come alone." I stared at the screen. Before I could process it, the door opened. Torres returned her phone ringing. She answered, listened, her face losing all color. She hung up, looked at me. "Nathan's gone." "What do you mean gone?" "He was being transferred to a secure facility. The transport vehicle was ambushed 10 miles outside Reno. 2 agents were injured." She looked at me grimly. "Either Garrett took him, or Nathan's working with whoever ambushed us. Either way, everyone involved in this case is now in immediate danger." My phone buzzed again. Another message from Drake, 30 minutes. "Your daughter's immunity depends on what you do next." I stared at the screen. I was in a hotel room under FBI protection. Yet Drake was texting me. How unless the FBI wanted Drake to contact me? Torres had said, "We recorded everything." What if this was part of the plan? But I couldn't risk it. Lauren's freedom was at stake. "I need to use the bathroom again," I told Torres. "Stress is affecting my stomach." She nodded. Agent Wallace escorted me down the hallway. His radio crackled, urgent voices, footsteps rushing elsewhere. Something was drawing attention away. I entered the bathroom, locked the door. Small window above the toilet. I climbed up every joint, protesting. 8-foot drop to the ground. I fell, stumbled, but I was out. The back parking lot stretched ahead. A silver sedan in the far corner, engine running. As I approached the driver's window, lowered. Steel gray hair, sharp eyes. "Mr. Coleman, get in. Quickly." I hesitated. "Your daughter has about 6 hours before the FBI decides she's more useful as a defendant than a witness." I got in. Drake drove off, taking small streets, constantly checking mirrors. Finally, "I'll be straight. Your son-in-law approached me 4 months ago. Evidence of Garrett's crimes. He wanted $425,000 for it. I paid $60,000 deposit." "Did he deliver?" "No. He was also negotiating with Garrett, playing us against each other." Drake's jaw tightened. "Garrett offered $700,000 and a job. New identities for everyone. But Nathan got greedy. Made copies, kept them back. That's why they're hunting him." Drake turned onto a dirt road. "Nathan told me he made 3 complete sets. 1 in your cabin, that's what you found. 1 in a safe deposit box. And 1 hidden in his house. We're going to get that 3rd set now." "Why should I help you?" "Because I have recordings of Nathan saying Lauren didn't know anything, that he manipulated her. Those recordings can prove her innocence. I'll trade them for the evidence." I thought of Lauren, face pale with fear. My grandchildren hiding somewhere scared. "What do you need me to do?" We drove to Lauren's suburban neighborhood at dusk. An unmarked car parked 3 houses down, 2 agents visible. Drake parked around the corner. "Walk to the house. Use your key." Nathan hid the evidence in the basement behind a false panel, in the hot water heater closet. "Get it and bring it out the back door. I'll wait in the alley." I walked up Lauren's front path, heart pounding, used my key. The door opened to silence. Found the basement stairs, descended into darkness. Phone flashlight found the water heater. Behind it the wall looked solid. Then I noticed the screws, 4 of them painted over. Found a screwdriver in a toolbox. The screws came out reluctantly. The panel pulled away. Inside, another waterproof container, identical to the cabin's. Footsteps above. Voices, "Mr. Coleman, FBI, we know you're in there." I grabbed the container, ran for the back door. Drake's sedan appeared, door open. I threw myself inside. "Drive!" Behind us, shouts, flashlights. But we were gone. "Did you get it?" I held up the container. "Open it. Verify it's real." My hands trembled as I broke the seal. Inside, USB drives, documents, a tablet, and something else, a handwritten letter. Lauren's handwriting. "Dad, if you're reading this, everything's gone terribly wrong." I read through tears. Lauren didn't know what Nathan was doing until 3 months ago. Thought they'd go to authorities. Didn't know Nathan was selling it. When she confronted him, Nathan said it was too late. He'd opened the offshore account in my name without telling her. Said if she told police I'd be arrested too, we'd all go to prison. I'm so sorry, Dad. I should have come to you immediately. I should have trusted you would help us. If anything happens to me, please take care of my children. Tell them their mother loved them more than anything. The evidence in this box is complete. It can destroy Garrett, but it can also destroy us if it falls into the wrong hands. I don't know who to trust anymore except you. I trust you, Dad. Whatever you decide to do with this, I know you'll choose what's right. You always do. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I looked up. Drake was watching, expression calculating. Touching. Now give it to me. The recordings first, proving Lauren's innocent. Drake smiled coldly. Mr. Coleman, I don't have any recordings. I never did. You lied. I did what I needed to. Drake reached into his jacket. Give it to me and I'll let you go. What about Lauren? She's on her own. Drake's hand moved toward the weapon inside his jacket. I thought about Dorothy, who'd always said I was too trusting. But I'd been a history teacher for 40 years, knew how to find truth beneath surfaces. And in the last 6 hours, I'd learned something important. I'd texted Drake while under FBI custody. They'd taken my phone twice to charge it. The FBI had access to everything. They'd seen those messages. They'd allowed me to escape. Let Drake take me because they'd been tracking us the whole time. Mr. Drake, I said calmly, you know what I think? I think you've been very foolish. Drake's face changed. Your car doors burst open. FBI agents swarmed in weapons, drawn voices shouting orders. Drake was pulled from the driver's seat, his face twisted with rage and disbelief. Agent Torres appeared at the car door helping me out. You okay, Jimmy? You were tracking us the whole time. Every word. We saw Drake's messages when we charged your phone. When he contacted you, we decided to let it play out. Torres guided me toward another vehicle. You did well. Better than we expected. You used me as bait. We protected you. Agents were always within 50 feet. She paused. But yes, we used you. I'm sorry. I should have been angry. All I felt was exhausted relief. What happens to Lauren now? Jimmy, your daughter's telling the truth. She was manipulated, threatened, kept in the dark. We're offering immunity in exchange for testimony against both Garrett and Drake. And me. The offshore account was identity theft. You're cleared. Torres smiled. You're actually a hero. Without you, we'd still be fumbling in the dark. The FBI brought me to a conference room where Lauren was waiting. When we saw each other, no words were needed. I held my daughter as she cried. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, Dad. I know, sweetheart, I know. Torres explained everything Nathan had recorded years of Garrett's crimes, but been tempted by money. The fake kidnapping was how the FBI forced everyone to act. With Nathan missing, all the players moved quickly, exposing themselves. Now we're building cases. Garrett, Drake, and about 15 others will go down for corruption, fraud, bribery, environmental crimes. But there was one more problem. A journalist, Samantha Rhodes, brought evidence that Judge Douglas Kent was compromised payments from Garrett's shell companies to Kent's brother. Torres examined the documents, face darkening. The trial could be delayed for months, but it's the right thing to do. 3 months later, I stood in the living room of the Lake Tahoe cabin examining the repaired wall. You couldn't tell anything had ever been hidden there. New wallpaper perfectly hung, the same pattern Dorothy had chosen, but lighter, more vibrant, a symbol of things brought into light. Outside, snow drifted across the frozen lake. Inside, fire crackling in the stone fireplace. The trials had begun 2 weeks ago. Judge Kent had been removed, his brother arrested. The case was reassigned to a federal judge with an impeccable reputation. The trial lasted a month. Nathan and Lauren testified for 3 exhausting days. Lauren described how her husband deceived her, how she discovered the truth too late. She cried on the witness stand. The jury listened with sympathy. Nathan's testimony was harder to watch, detailing everything. The crimes, witnessed attempts to sell evidence, escalating panic, admitting the greed, the cowardice, the lies. Both testimonies were devastating for Garrett. The evidence was overwhelming. The verdict came 6 weeks later. I was at Lauren's house helping pack my grandchildren's things so they could return home. My phone buzzed with the news. I called Lauren immediately. It's done. He's guilty. All 43 counts. She burst into tears. When she came back to the line, her voice was steadier. Dad, I don't know how to thank you. You don't need to. You're my daughter. This is what fathers do. No, this is what extraordinary fathers do. She paused. I know I don't deserve your forgiveness. I know it'll take years to rebuild your trust. But I want you to know I'll be better. You already are that person, Lauren. You just forgot for a while. In the weeks after life began to feel normal again, Nathan and Lauren decided not to take new identities. They wanted to rebuild their lives here, face what they'd done, start over with honesty. My grandchildren visited me at the cabin. We walked the trails Dorothy and I loved, fished in the stream, roasted marshmallows by the fire. The final night of their visit, after the kids slept, I sat alone on the porch, watching stars appear over the lake. My hip ached, my hands were liver-spotted, my hair completely white. I looked exactly like what I was, a man past 67, marked by time. But I felt different than a year ago, stronger, more certain. The house behind me was quiet, filled with sleeping grandchildren. The lake before me was still reflecting starlight. This place had been violated, used as a hiding place for secrets. Now it was mine again, clean, honest, safe. My phone buzzed a message from Lauren. "Thank you for everything, Dad. I love you more than words can express." I texted back, "I love you too," then added in "no more secrets." Her response came immediately. "No more secrets. I promise." I believed her. Or perhaps chose to believe her. Sometimes faith is an act of will, a decision to trust again, even after betrayal. The wind picked up, carrying the scent of pine and coming rain. I went inside to bank the fire before bed. As I locked the door, I caught my reflection in the dark window. An old man, yes, but one who'd survived something extraordinary. One who'd used intelligence instead of strength, patience instead of panic, wisdom instead of force. Dorothy used to say age was just a number. Now I understood what she really meant. Age wasn't weakness. It was accumulated knowledge, experience, the ability to see patterns, think strategically. I'd spent my career teaching history, teaching people how to find truth. Those skills had saved my family. Those skills, patient, unglamorous, had brought down a criminal empire. I climbed the stairs to bed, feeling every year of 67, but also feeling satisfied in a way I hadn't in a long time. The mystery solved, the criminals caught, the family safe. The wall repaired, stronger now than before. Just like me. I slept that night without nightmares, without fear, wrapped in the knowledge that I'd done everything right. Not perfectly, there'd been mistakes, close calls, moments of doubt, but I'd protected what mattered. And I'd won? That was enough, more than enough. That was everything. Looking back on everything that happened, I realized how close I came to losing my family forever. The lesson I learned: don't wait until secrets destroy everything you love. When someone you care about starts acting distant, scared, or evasive, reach out immediately. Don't assume they'll come to you. Sometimes people are trapped in situations they can't escape alone. My advice: trust, but verify. Love deeply, but keep your eyes open. And never underestimate the power of patience and wisdom over panic and force. I'm grateful to God for giving me the strength to keep going when I was terrified, the clarity to think strategically when chaos surrounded me, and the chance to save my daughter before it was too late. This true story taught me that age isn't a weakness, it's a weapon. Grandpa's stories aren't just about the past. They're proof that ordinary people can do extraordinary things when family is on the line. This is my true story, and I'm sharing it so you'll recognize the warning signs I missed. If this true story resonated with you, please leave a comment below sharing your thoughts. Subscribe to the channel for more real grandpa stories like this one. And if you know someone who needs to hear this message, share this video with them. Your support means